Welcome to this presentation on Facebook ads for authors. This is a brand new masterclass I've just put together, and it's completely updated for 2025 because Facebook ads changes a lot quite regularly. So I want to put together this one that is right up to date with how I'm running Facebook ads today. So my name is Matt Holmes, and I'll just give you a very quick introduction of my story. So my wife, Laurie, is an author of fantasy novels. So she does the writing of the books and I do the marketing and the advertising. That's how we got into it. So Laurie published her first book in April of 2020. And before then, I was running a video production company, but the global pandemic sort of wiped out my video production company. And we had to make some changes because we had two of our sons on the way. They were 2 months away from being born, and we had no income. So something had to change quite rapidly. So I just dove into advertising my wife's books, and that really took off, particularly in the US. And then I started getting approached from other authors saying, how are you doing this? Can you help me with my ads, my advertising? So I did some coaching, consulting. That turned into ads management for authors as well. And then several authors got in touch saying, I can't afford your fees for coaching or consulting or ads management. Can you put together a course for running ads for my books? So I did that, and that's now predominantly my side of business is the courses. But then I'm very much in the weeds of running Facebook ads, Amazon ads, and all the marketing and advertising and business side of running Laurie's author business. So within a couple of years, we built up to 6 figures in royalties for Laurie's books. And Laurie's quite unusual in that she's a very slow writer and writes one book per year. So we don't have loads and loads of launches. It's very much built on the quality of the books, and that's what really helps with the marketing and the advertising. So since I've started working in this industry, I've helped thousands of authors transform their business and also their personal life as well. Many of them have quit their full-time 9 to 5 and become a full-time author. So that's been, for me, that's been really a real blessing to be able to have had that sort of impact on people. Now, they've obviously done the work to actually do that, but I've played a very small part in their success, which I'm very proud of. So personally, we have 3 children. We have twins and who are 4, and then we have a 2-year-old as well. So it's a busy house, and we've built the business around Laurie's business and this business around putting family first. So we work 3 or 4 hours a day and put family first. So that's how we've built everything, and that's the sort of lifestyle we live now, which we're very blessed to be able to do. So that's a very short introduction on me. And today what we're going to be diving into is why Facebook ads work so well for books, the 3 most important parts of a Facebook ad. And we'll look at plenty of examples of Facebook ads responsible for tens of thousands of sales. And then also my Facebook ads campaign structure and how I optimize and how I scale things as well. And then also at the end, we're going to dive into the Facebook ads dashboard, and I walk you through step by step how to launch a Facebook ads campaign. Why Facebook ads then? Facebook ads offer very cheap traffic, but not just cheap, irrelevant traffic. It's very relevant traffic because Facebook's algorithm is very powerful, and it will find your readers for you. So it's not just driving anyone and everyone to your books, it's driving very relevant, the right readers to your books. And we can reach a lot of readers, but again, it's the right readers as well. And we can track the performance of every single Facebook ad we're running with the tool, a free tool provided by Amazon called Amazon Attribution. So we know which ads are working, which ones aren't, and then we can stop hemorrhaging money into ads that aren't working and scale up the ads that are working. And whether you have a budget of $5 or $10 a day or $10,000 a day, you can make Facebook ads work for you. We started off spending about £10 a day. It's that $12 a day, somewhere around there. So we started off at that, and then we scaled up to several £100s a day in profitable spend. So you can start wherever you want to start. And also, when you are running Facebook ads, you're going to be building lots of social proof on those ads as well. And it's much better for other people, other readers, to sell your books for you rather than you trying to sell it yourself. And this is what all the social proof on Facebook ads does for you. You are in complete control of how much you spend with your Facebook ads and when you spend it. So if you only want to spend $10 a day, tomorrow you want to ramp it up to 20, then you want to take it down to 15 or ramp it up to 50, or you want to only run it Monday to Friday, you're in complete control of that, depending on your budget and your cash flow. So that's a little bit about why Facebook ads are so good for books. So what we'll do now is we'll dive into the 3 most important parts of a Facebook ad. This is really critical to understand this bit. So this is an example Facebook ad here. And the very first piece of the ad we need to really focus on is the creative. This can be an image or it can be a video. And the reason this is so important is because when people are scrolling on their Facebook feed, there's a stat out there that says the average social media user scrolls the height of the Eiffel Tower every single day. So there's a lot of scrolling going on, and we need to stop that scroll in its tracks. And we do that by having a very engaging piece of creative, an image or a video. Now, it can be something like this with pictures of books. It can be something completely different. It could just be just a character on a background with some wording on. And I've got examples coming up where I show you some different ideas for your Facebook ads creative, but it just requires testing to figure out what's going to work for your book. But this is the single most important part of the ad, because if you can't stop people in their tracks when they're scrolling, then the rest of the ad that we're about to cover doesn't even matter, because it's not going to get read. So there's been various eye studies done, so eye tracking studies done on Facebook ads. And when someone is looking at Facebook ad, the first place their eyes go is the creative, the image or the video. Then their eyes go down to the headline at the bottom here, where it says read for free with Kindle Unlimited. So that needs to really keep people hooked on the ad. And then if the headline is keeping them hooked on the ad, then their eyes are going to move up to the top, which is the primary text. This is the block of text above the image or the video. And this can be as short as a single sentence. It can be as long as an entire chapter of a book. And anywhere in between. So again, this all takes testing to figure out what is the best length of primary text, what is the best sort of wording for your headlines, and then imagery as well, images and videos. So these are the three most important parts of a Facebook ad, and these are the ones I really focus on testing. Down in the bottom right-hand corner, we have what's called the call to action button. And the main one that I use, because it just works the best from my testing, is Shop Now. There are various other presets we can choose, such as learn more or download or sign up. But from all the testing, as I say, Shop Now always performs the best. You can't create your own button here. You can't say buy my book in your call to action button. It does have to be from a preset list that Facebook provide, but Shop Now just works. So let's look at the creative in a bit more detail then. As I mentioned earlier, it does need to stop the scroll, because without it, the rest of the ad is never going to get read. If people are scrolling on straight on past, then it's not, the rest of the ad doesn't matter. And if Facebook can see that people are stopping to look at your image or look at your ad, then that's going to show that there's engagement happening with your ad, and that's therefore going to lower your costs, which is a good thing, obviously. So if people just keep scrolling past your ad and very few people are actually stopping to look at it, then that's a red flag really to Facebook that this ad isn't engaging, and therefore your cost will go up. So they're going to charge you more for your ad to be shown, and then for the clicks on your ad as well that they do get. So here is a wall of different ideas for images. So feel free to take a screenshot of this if you want to. These are just a handful of the thousands of ads I've tested over the years, thousands of images I've tested over the years. So yeah, some of them are AI generated, but what I find works best really is some sort of element from your book cover. So it could be part of the background, and then with a character on it that's on your book cover. Something along those lines tends to work best. And then what I also find works very well is using reader review quotes on your images. You can do taglines as well, sort of strap lines if you like this one on the second row down, from the right hand side, where it says escape into a fantasy series like no other. That's what I see as a tagline or a strap line, and they can work well, but I find that reader review quotes just work that much better, because it's someone else that's selling your book. It's not you trying to sell your book. So it's all that stuff. It's that social proof element is just so powerful. So those are just a few examples of very successful images that we've tested. Let's now look at the headline, which is below the image or the video. And the purpose of this is to keep people hooked on your ad. So here's a few examples of headlines that have worked well for us. So free with Kindle Unlimited. If your books are enrolled in Kindle Unlimited, then mentioning Kindle Unlimited in your headline definitely works very well. And when we do use it, we do see a good amount of page reads that come from the ads that use or that mention Kindle Unlimited. Reader review quotes, such as best fantasy series I've ever read. And just a note there on reader review quotes, if you are going to use them, what I've found best or work best is when the review quote mentions a trope or the genre, because if you just use a reader review quote such as best book I've ever read, okay, they can work, but that could be talking about any book in any genre, whether it's fiction or non-fiction, it doesn't matter. Best book I've ever read, there's no context about what sort of book that is. Whereas if you can say best fantasy series or best fantasy book I've ever read, then that very much helps not only the algorithm, Facebook's algorithm, find the right readers because it's looking at the content of your ad, but it's also sort of people can self-select whether this ad is for them. They'll see the image that catches their attention. They'll see the reader review quote. If it says best fantasy series I've ever read, and they don't like fantasy, they've never read fantasy, they don't intend to, then they're going to carry on by, and that's fine. But if people do say, oh, fantasy, I love fantasy, then that's going to hook them in even more into the ad. And that's going to increase engagement, and it's going to be a good signal to Facebook that, okay, Facebook need to find more people like this person because they're obviously engaging with the ad. So if you can mention tropes or the genre, you find review quotes that do mention that, then they can work a lot better than very generic reader review quotes. Then you could also mention a bundle or a deal, anything like that. If there is a saving to be had, a discount, then mention that in the headline. And then if you are in a limited time deal or promotion, then put the end date into the headline, because that's just going to drive some scarcity and it's going to drive action as well. Rather than people saying, oh, I'll pick it up tomorrow, and tomorrow never comes. If you can say, right, it ends tomorrow or ends on this date, then people are much more likely to take action than putting it off. Some sort of social proof. So if you sold a certain number of copies, if you've won certain awards for your writing, then you can try testing those sorts of wording in your headline as well, such as over 200,000 copies sold, for example. And then you just keep it very simple. You could have something like a fantasy fiction series or a crime thriller series or anything like that. Just keep it very, very simple. Those can work as well. But this is all about testing. This is where we've got to test lots and lots of different ideas to figure out what works for your book specifically. Then we'll jump into the primary text. And the purpose of the primary text is to get people to click on your ad, to entice them to click. So they look to the image, they look to the headline, and it's intriguing them. So they want to know a little bit more before they click on the ad. So they read the primary text. The purpose of this is to get them to click over to your book on Amazon or wherever you're sending people. So as I mentioned earlier, the primary text can be a single sentence, or it can be an entire chapter of your book and anything in between. It's all about testing to figure out what works for your books. What I will say is that because most of your impressions, so your ads are mainly going to be seen on a mobile device. And as we can see in this screenshot here, on mobile devices, the primary text is going to be cut off. It's going to be truncated after 125 characters. So you want to really make the first 125 characters of your primary text really pop and really hook people in. Because if it doesn't hook people in, then they're probably not going to click that see more button and read the rest of the primary text. And when people do click the see more button, that's another green flag, another good signal to Facebook that, oh, this is engaging people. Let's show this ad to more people. Let's reduce their costs, etc. So every engagement signal that you can provide Facebook with, the better. You're going to get much better results that way. So focus on that first 125 characters and hook people in with that. So let's look at a couple of examples here. So this one is, we have start off with the star emojis of a reader review, and then we just include the whole reader review quote here. And you can go through your book reviews on Amazon or retailers, wherever you're selling, and bring those into your Facebook ads. They work incredibly well. And then we have the 3 asterisks just to separate the review quote from the call to action. And the call to action is immerse yourself in the international best-selling fantasy series, The Ancestors Saga. So we're just putting some social proof out there, and then we're going to give in the name of the series, and then also the name of book 1. So it all begins with book 1. And then we can also say that the book is available in Kindle Unlimited. At this time when we were doing this, it was in Prime Reading as well. And then we also mentioned that it's in other formats, paperback and audio as well. So all these different words we're using just help the algorithm find our readers, and it also helps people figure out whether this book is for them or not. So your ad itself is really the biggest lever you can pull with your Facebook ads, because your ads do the targeting. It's not the targeting that does the targeting. If you've experienced Facebook ads before, you've heard about Facebook ads, perhaps you've run Facebook ads. And if you were like me a few years ago, I was so focused on doing the targeting. So, I want to show these ads to people who like Stephen King or who like fantasy fiction or fantasy books or fantasy films or Avatar or whatever it is. And I was so focused on that, and the ads themselves were just an afterthought. I had that completely backwards. The ads themselves, the content of the ads, so the words you use in your headlines, your primary text, even the words in your images and the content of your images. Is it a female? Is it a male in your image, a picture? What's their emotion on their face? Are they happy? Are they sad? Are they angry? Are they wearing glasses? All these different things Facebook's algorithm is looking at to find your readers. So your ads are doing the targeting for you. So all you need to focus on is creating ads that speak to your ideal readers. So as I say, we can include relevant words in our ads, in the creative, so the image or video, the headlines, and the primary text. And if you are stuck for ideas or you just need some more ideas, you need some more inspiration, then a great place to go is the Facebook Ads Library. This is a completely free tool provided by Meta, who own Facebook, they own Instagram, they own WhatsApp. And the URL is at the bottom there, facebook.com/ads/library. And in here, what you can do is you can search for ads by any advertiser in the world. So it could be other authors, it could be publishing companies, it could be any business in the world who's running Facebook ads, whether it could be Amazon themselves, it could be Walmart, it could be anybody. But you can look at the actual ads that they're running. You can see the images, the videos, the headlines, the primary text. You can click on the ad and see what landing page it's sending people to. You can see what call to action button they're using in their ads as well. You can see everything. The only thing you can't see is their performance. You can't see what their cost per click is or how successful they are, but you can see the creative, which is really, that's the bulk of it. So you get lots and lots of ideas with the Facebook Ads Library, an incredibly powerful tool. I use it every single week just to get ideas and inspiration, because you do hit blocks of, I just can't think of anything new to test. So you go in there and get some fresh ideas. Really, really useful tool and completely free. So let's move on a bit then, and we'll look at how I structure my Facebook ads campaigns. Before we get into that, we just need to look at the Facebook ads hierarchy briefly. So there's 3 levels to the Facebook ads hierarchy. There's the campaign, the ad set, and the ad. So inside your Facebook ads campaign, you can have multiple campaigns, hundreds, thousands of campaigns. And at the campaign level, this is where we set the objective. So what we want our campaign to achieve, and also our budget. So how much we want to spend each day on this particular campaign. Inside a campaign, you have what are called ad sets. And in ad sets, we define the targeting, which we'll cover later on, and also the placements as well. So whereabouts on Facebook's, Meta's ecosystem, you want your ads to appear. And there's really just one placement that I use for running Facebook ads when advertising books. And we'll cover what that is later on when we get into the Facebook ads dashboard and start launching a campaign. And then you can have up to 70 ad sets in a single campaign. And then within an ad set, you have ads. You can have multiple ads within an ad set. So that's the hierarchy of Facebook ads. And at the ad level, this is really the ads that people are seeing on their Facebook feed or their Instagram feed or wherever you're showing them. So it's the image, the video, the headline, the primary text, that's all at the ad level. And the way I structure things is I have one campaign per country, per book, and all the testing and all the scaling happens inside that one single campaign. So we haven't got multiple campaigns for testing audiences, and then one for testing ad creative, and then one for scaling up. Everything happens inside one single campaign, which just makes things very, very simple for you as the advertiser, because you haven't got multiple campaigns to go through. But also Facebook's algorithm, it loves simplification and it loves account simplification, and it just makes its job so much easier if it can just really focus on one campaign, hasn't got to split its attention across multiple campaigns for the same book. So I set the budget at the campaign level, and this is using something called Advantage Campaign Budget. So I used to do ad set level budgeting, where I would decide how much to put into each ad set. But I found, because I'm always testing and experimenting with different things, I was finding I was getting much better results by testing Advantage Campaign Budget and just letting Facebook decide where to spend the budget, rather than me trying to decide, okay, ad set 1 needs $20 a day, ad set 2 needs $50 a day, ad set 3 needs $35 a day, whatever it is. I'm just letting Facebook handle all of that. So that's one less thing for you to manage, is to let Facebook handle the budget side of things as well. In terms of optimization, all we need to do is turn off ads and ad sets that aren't performing for us. So in this example here, ad set 1 that's green, because it's earned the most budget, if we just go back a slide, we can see that it spent $68. So what I'm looking for is the ads and ad sets that have spent the most budget, because those are the ones that are getting the best results for us. So ad set 1 here in green, I would leave that turned on. And because within inside ad set 1, the first ad in there has spent $65 and the others have spent, $1.5887, they haven't earned majority of spend, so they get turned off. And then the other ad sets that are red here, we just turn those off as well because they haven't earned the majority of the spend. So that's all I'm doing. And when we turn off an ad set, automatically the ads within that ad set get turned off as well. But if you want to leave an ad set on, there's just one or more ads in there that you want to keep running, then you just turn the others off manually at the ad level. In terms of testing, when I introduce new ads to test, I don't add new ads into an existing ad set. What I do is I create a new ad set within the campaign. And I just find I get better results that way because we're not even asking Facebook to relearn at an ad set level, inside the ad set. If there's an ad that's already working well in an ad set, we're going to leave that one alone, introduce a new ad set into the campaign and new ads within that ad set. I find I get much better results that way, just more stable, more consistent results. And then in terms of increasing the budget, it's very, very simple. All we need to do is just increase the budget at the campaign level. And I do this up to 20% a week. So usually it's about 15 to 20% a week is what I'll increase the budget by, but do it at the campaign level. And then Facebook will reallocate that budget to the various ads and ad sets within that campaign, rather than just deciding, okay, I want to spend 10 more on this one, 5 more on this one, 10 more on that one. Facebook decides all of that for us. And the reason that I put a cap at 20% of a budget increase is because if you put more than that, so if you went from say $100 a day to $200 a day in your budget, I find that doing that, it causes Facebook to have to relearn. Our results drop off for quite a while. It might be sort of 4 or 5 days before Facebook picks things up again and reallocates budget accordingly. It's just too much budget too soon, really. So if you can do no more than 20% at a time, it's enough that you'll be able to reach more readers, but not so much that Facebook struggle to think, oh, too much money, I don't know what to do with all this. So 20% at a time is ideal. That's the sort of sweet spot, really. And then same with decrease in budget. If you want to decrease budget, then do it in no more than 20% increments downwards. And we do our budget once per week, increase it. But you may want to do it daily or every other day. That's fine. Just don't do it more than 20% in any 24-hour period. So some authors like to do daily, some like to do 2 or 3 times a week. It's up to you how you do that, but no more than once every 24 hours. And I test 3 to 6 new ads per week, and I have a maximum of 3 ads per ad set, and each ad set has a theme. So one ad set might be testing primary text. One might be testing the 3D mockups in the image of books, 3D book mockups in the image. One might be testing headlines. One might be testing some AI imagery. So each ad set has a theme, and that way it's just much easier to keep control of, rather than testing video and image and the primary text all in the same ad set. It just makes things much easier to manage. And then I optimize the ads once per week. And by optimize, what I'm really bucketing into all of that is turning ads and ad sets off, increasing or decreasing the budgets, and then testing new ads as well. And then also, which I haven't touched on much really, is the tracking. So tracking the performance of each individual ad. Because once we know which ads are working and which ones aren't, we can turn off the losers and scale up the winners. So what we'll do now is we'll jump into the Facebook ads dashboard, and I'll walk you through step by step how I go about launching a brand new Facebook ads campaign. Now we are inside of the Facebook ads dashboard, and give you a bit of a whistle stop tour. We have our campaigns, our ad sets, and our ads across the top here. So that's the hierarchy that we covered earlier. And if we click into a campaign, then we'll see all the ad sets for that particular campaign. And if we click into an ad set, we'll see the ads within that particular ad set. So that's how we sort of navigate our way around. There are other ways you can do it. There's multiple ways to do the same thing inside the Facebook ads dashboard. So you may want to just, if you want to check that one there, if you want to see all the ad sets within your account, you just don't have any campaign selected here, and you just jump to the ad sets level, and these are all the ad sets within the account. And then if you want to see all the ads within the account, just click on the ads tab, and we'll see all the ads in the actual account itself. Now there's not any 87 here because I've only got the active ones selected at the top here. So I've got active ads at the top. If I uncheck that, then we can see we've got a lot more campaigns there. So we just choose active. It just cleans up the dashboard much better for me, really. Okay, so that's the hierarchy. And then over on here, the right-hand side, we have the time frame. So this month, then we got various different presets. So today, yesterday, last 7 days, last 14 days, etc. And then we can also choose a particular time range. So we could do the 12th to the 15th, for example, and then update. And whenever you change the time frame here, it's going to update everything here. All the metrics along here will be updated based on this particular time frame. So we'll just jump back to today. And then over on the left-hand side here, I mean, there's not really much I use in here, but if you hover over the hamburger menu here, all tools, you've got various different tools in here. But to be honest, I don't really touch any of this. The only thing you need to do is set up the billing and payments. So click on billing and payments there. And then pretty much that's it. If you want to do retargeting, which gets a bit more advanced, a bit more involved, then you'd use the audience menu here. But really, I'm pretty much just in here. That's all I really touch. So that's a very, very quick overview of the Facebook ads dashboard. So what we'll do now is we'll actually launch a campaign step by step. So once you're in your Facebook ads dashboard, if you don't know how to get to that, just go to facebook.com, okay, to your home page. And then down the left-hand side here in the menu, what you're looking for is Ads Manager. So it's just here, Ads Manager, and then that will take you over to your Facebook ads dashboard here. The other thing you'll need is a Facebook author page, because your author page will be associated with your ads. The name of your author page will be at the top of your ad, as you'll see later on. So you do need one of those as well. And to get to that, again, come back to your facebook.com homepage. And what you're looking for down the left-hand side is pages, this orange flag here. And then you can just create a new profile or new page just there. And that's how you create your page, and then that'll be linked to your Facebook ads account. So let's come back to the ads manager, and we're going to click the green create button to start with. This is going to be creating a campaign. Just make sure you're at the campaigns level. Okay. And here we're going to choose our objective, what we want our campaign to achieve. So if you're sending people from your Facebook ads to your books on Amazon or another retailer, so a website that you don't own, then we need to choose the traffic objective. If you're doing direct sales, so you're selling books on your own website, then you would choose the sales objective. But we're going to be focusing on the traffic objective, sending people from our Facebook ads to our books on Amazon. So we'll choose traffic and then click continue. Here we're going to choose a manual traffic campaign. Facebook's going to try and persuade you to use these recommended settings. I don't recommend you follow those. So use a manual one and then click continue. So give that a second or two. Okay, so now we're at the campaign level. So we've got over on the left here, you can see new traffic campaign, new traffic ad set, and new traffic ad, and they're sort of staggered because they're inside each other here. So the ad set is inside the campaign and the ad is within the ad set. So the campaign level, we're going to give our campaign a name. Now there's no right or wrong way to do this in terms of naming your campaigns, ad sets, and ads. Just make it a system that works for you. So you haven't got to spend 60 seconds trying to figure out what this campaign is all about. You want to be looking at it and straight away, okay, this campaign is advertising this book in this country. That's the way I do it. So it might be something like Laurie's book, first book of Laurie's series is called The Forbidden. So it might be something like USA, which is the country we're going to be advertising in, and then the name of the book. It could be that simple. It's entirely up to you how you want to do this. So that is the campaign name. We can leave special ad categories alone. Campaign details, we can leave that alone as well. Advantage campaign budget, we need to turn this on. So we'll just click the little toggle button here. Okay. And we need to set a budget, a daily budget. So again, there's no right or wrong here. It's got to be based on what your cash flow is and your budget. Whether you want to spend $10 a day, 20, 50, 100, doesn't matter. Just make sure that it's something you can afford to lose, because there's no guarantees in advertising at all. So you might want to start at 10 or 15, $20. Just keep in mind that the smaller your budget, if it's say less than if it's sort of $5 or so a day, then it's just going to take longer to gather the data you need to make a decision on whether an ad is good or not. So you still have to spend the same amount. It's just going to take you a bit longer to spend that, because you still need the data to figure out, is this ad worth scaling up? Is it a dud that I want to turn off? So let's start at $20 a day here. Okay. And then everything else here, we can leave a default. So that's fine. Then we can click in next in the bottom right corner here, or we can click on new traffic ad set over on the left. Both options will take you to the same page, which is the ad set level. So now we need to give our ad set a name. And the way I do this is I call them ad packages. So add package 1. And then I like to put the date of that I'm launching this. So today is the 15th of Jan. Okay. So that would be my ad set name. But again, this is entirely up to you how you want to do this, how you want to name things. So I just like to know when I launch an ad package so I can figure out, okay, I need to give this a bit longer to run to gather the data I need. So that's my ad set name. Conversion, keep that as website. We can leave all of this alone down here. Now under show more options, which is hidden away, just make sure it's set to impression here. You can choose, hover over it, click on edit. You can choose to have a pay by link click. What I found though is that when you select this, the ads are more expensive and they just don't perform as well. So I always make sure that it's set to impression. It is the default, but just double check that it is set to impression. I mean, by all means, test link click if you want to see how it works for you. But from all my tests that I've done on it, impression always works better. Dynamic creative, we can leave that turned off. Budget and schedule. We don't need to worry about budget here because it's being handled at the campaign level. But the start date, you can set this to start straight away. You could let it to start tomorrow or next week, whenever you want to. The only thing I would say here is if you're setting this campaign up in the evening, to say 7 or 8 o'clock at night, I would set it to midnight the following day. So let's say it's 8 o'clock at night here. I'm going to choose tomorrow, so the 17th of January, and I'm going to set it to 1 minute past midnight. The reason I do that is because if it's 8 o'clock at night and your ads get approved by, say, 9 p.m., what Facebook's going to do is going to try and spend your entire daily budget. So for us, it's £20. It's going to try and spend that whole £20 between 9 p.m. at midnight. So it's going to try and spend £20 in 3 hours. And when it does that, the results are pretty, they're not great. So I would rather that £20 was spread out over a full 24-hour period. So that's why I start it at midnight the following day. I mean, it's entirely up to you whether you want to do that. You might be happy to spend that £20 in 3 hours, and that's fine. But that's just a recommendation here, just to save a few pennies. So ad set spending limits, we can leave that turned off. Audience controls. Okay, this is the targeting here. So Facebook is trying to encourage us to use Advantage Plus audiences, which is where where Facebook just handles everything. We don't really have much control apart from location. Now that was working for a while for me, but over the last couple of months, it just hasn't been working. No matter all the testing I've done, it just does not work for me anymore. So I've switched to what's called unrestricted targeting or broad targeting or open targeting. The way we do this is we come down to this option here where it says switch to original audience options. And we're going to choose use original audience. Okay, so now we'll scroll down. And what we need to do, we can ignore custom audiences. So we need to define the location, the age, and the gender. And that's it. That's all the targeting we're doing. Facebook's going to handle everything else for us. So this campaign, we are going to be targeting US. So hover over locations and click on edit. Then we're going to come to the search locations bar here and type in United States. Okay. And we're going to close out UK. We don't want that one. We just want US, just one country per campaign. Okay, so that's the location done. Then we need to define our age. Now, if you don't know the ideal, your ideal reader's age, your age brackets, don't worry about it. Facebook will figure it out for you. But you've probably got a good idea. You probably know if your books are for 18-year-olds or not, or 20-year-olds. You may know that, okay, they're probably 30-year-olds plus. If you want to do that, just hover over here, click on edit. And the default is 18 to 65 plus. For Laurie's books, we know it's about sort of 35 upwards. And by all means, set it to whatever you want to really. But if you really don't know, just set it to say 18 to 65 plus, and let Facebook figure out who's going to resonate best with your ads. One thing I will say about 65 plus here is that a lot of authors find that when 65 plus is selected rather than 64, with 65 plus, what you find is that you may get loads and loads and loads of clicks from that age group from 65 plus, but very few of them actually convert into sales. So you may want to, which a lot of authors are doing now, they are capping their age at 64 rather than 65 plus and getting better results for it. So it's something to test for your ads. I mean, you may find that 65 plus works just great for you, and that's great. Carry on. But if you're finding you're getting lots of clicks from 65 plus, but they're not converting, then try capping at 64 instead. And then genders, again, if you know your books are for females or they are for males, then you can define that. So hover over here and click on edit, and then you can choose men, you can choose women, or you can choose all. And if you don't know, again, just select all and let Facebook figure it out for you. And then you can refine later on down the line once you've got some data. But if you do know, say you write romance books and you know they're definitely for women, no men are ever going to read them. So you just define women from the start. And that's all we're doing. That's the only targeting we're doing here. We can leave advantage detail targeting alone. We don't need to worry that at all. Languages, we can leave that alone as well. And then placements. This is where we're defining whereabouts across Facebook, across Meta's ecosystem, we want our ads to show. So the default is Advantage Plus placements, which is where we're letting Meta decide where to put our ads. But the problem with this, when we're running traffic ads, so we're optimizing for clicks on our ads rather than sales or purchases, because we can't do that when we're sending traffic to Amazon or another retailer. Facebook's just going to put our ads in the lowest quality placements possible, just to get loads of clicks, the cheapest possible clicks for for your budget. So we don't want that. We don't want low quality clicks. We want highest quality clicks possible. And the best placement I've found from all my testing is the Facebook feed. So to just show your ads on the Facebook feed, we'll hover over Advantage Plus placements and click on edit. Then we're going to come down here and choose manual placements. Okay, and we'll scroll down again. And here we're going to turn off Instagram, we're going to turn off Messenger, and we're going to turn off Audience Network. And then further down here, we want to just have the Facebook feed selected here. That's all we want. So we'll turn everything on and then turn everything off on that section and just select Facebook feed. Okay. Then stories and reels, we can turn these off. In-stream ads for videos and reels, we can turn these off. And then search results, we can turn these off. So just make sure the only placement you have selected is the Facebook feed there. And that's all we need to do at the ad set level. That's that level done. So now we can click on new traffic ad up here, or we click on next in the bottom right. So we'll come to here, and now we have the ads themselves. So these are the ads that people are seeing on their Facebook feed. So the way I name my ads is I just do ad one, and then we just put in the date that I'm actually launching these ads. So that is the ad name done. Partnership ad, we can leave these turned off. Identity, this is where we're selecting our Facebook author page. So if you have multiple pages, just make sure you've got the right one selected here. And then we come down to ad setup. So create ad, manual upload, single image or video. Those are the default options. So you should be fine there. Make sure multi-advertiser ads is turned off. That's going to put your ads next to other advertisers, and it's probably going to be Temu or something like that. So you may not want your ads to be associated with those. So just make sure that's turned off. Then we come down to the ad creative, and in here, what we need to do is click on setup creative and set up image ad here. And if you have videos, then you select video there. So in here, because we've had our Facebook account connected to Shopify before, when we're doing direct sales, there is this option here. We just need to say not connected there. You probably wouldn't have to do that if you haven't connected your Facebook ads account to Shopify before. That's just an extra step we need to take for this account. Okay, so then we move on to the text. And here we have our primary text and our headline, and then our description. I didn't mention that earlier, but description is a very small piece of text that sits underneath the headline. It doesn't really do much for you. I do put something in, but if your headline goes onto 2 lines, which it will do on a mobile device, then your description is not going to be visible anyway. But just putting something in there just helps the algorithm to define and find your readers for you. So we'll cover that in a moment. So let's start with the primary text, and I've got some here that I've already written that I've used in an ad the other day, earlier this week. So I'm just going to copy this here. So I've got primary text 1, primary text 2, primary text 3, and then we've got headline 1, 2, and 3 as well. So I just write them in a Google Doc, and I use a bit of AI to help me with this and then refine it out of AI. So I use a tool called Claude, Claude. There's another one called ChatGPT, and these really just help you come up with new ideas and new angles for your Facebook ads, your primary text and your headlines that you may never have thought of on your own. So I never use anything straight out of AI, but I use it to start the idea generation, and then I really go in and just refine it all. So it's much better than just staring at a blank sheet. So let's take this first one here. So we select that and copy it, come back to Ads Manager, and then we're going to paste that into the primary text. Okay, so there's our first piece of primary text. And when you put this in, Facebook's AI is going to give you some ideas as well. Now, I've never used any of these, but they look pretty good. So you may want to take these out and work on them in a Google Doc or a Word doc, wherever you want to work on them. I would never use them straight as they are, straight up. So, but it's another way to start generating some ideas for future Facebook ads, is Facebook's AI ideas here. So that's our primary text. Then we come down to the headline. So we'll go back to our Google Doc here and we will choose our headline. Okay. And we'll paste that into there. And again, Facebook's giving us some headline ideas as well. So then we come down to description, and I no longer test descriptions at all. All I put in each one is Kindle, KU, print, and audio. I just do the same for every single ad I run now. So that's all I do there. And then we have the call to action button. So the default is learn more, but you can see there's other options here. So you can choose to have no button at all, get promotions, get show times, etc. So a lot of these aren't going to be relevant for books, but the one I find works best is this one here, shop now. Okay, so that is the text done. Now we click on next. Okay, so now we come to the images, and the images, ideally you want them to be square images because they take up the most space, the most real estate on the Facebook feed. And the size you want is 1080 by 1080 pixels. So they're a square image. And you can create these in tools like Canva or Photoshop. And there's other various image editing tools out there as well. I use a mix of Canva and Photoshop for our images. So once you've come to this setting here, just click on upload, and then you can just choose the images you want from your computer. So I'm just going to grab these. Let's grab these three here. So these are just uploading now. So these are the images. So we've got the same background on each one, but it's just a different reader review quote on each one. So we're going to select these. Oh, we just want one verse actually, don't we? Don't want three. So image one here. We're going to click next. Okay, just make sure it's square, so it's original. Okay, then click next. And we don't need to use Meta's Facebook's AI at all to create images. So we'll do skip and continue. Okay, and these Advantage Plus creative enhancements, I turn all of these off. I don't find they do anything for us at all. So I just click all optimizations, toggle them on and then off again. It does sometimes be a bit sneaky and leave a few on. So just make sure they're all off, which they are. If it was on, it would just look like a blue toggle like that. So just make sure everything's off. And then we click done. So we can see here on the right hand side, this is a preview of our ad. And we can see this is where it says J Holmes at the top here. If people click on that, they will go to your Facebook author page. This is why we need to have a Facebook author page in place. Facebook won't let you run Facebook ads without one, and it is visible. So your profile picture and your name of your page is visible on the ad itself. Okay, so now we come down, and the other thing to do is you need a website URL. This is where you want to send people to. So what I recommend is you use, if you're sending people from your Facebook ads to Amazon, that you use a tool called Amazon Attribution. Now, we haven't got time to go into the depths of Amazon Attribution in this, but it's a free tool. It's provided by Amazon, and you can find it inside of your Amazon Ads account. And you just create a tracking link for each individual Facebook ad. And that way you'll be able to see the number of orders that come from an ad, the number of purchases, and also if your books are in Kindle Unlimited, you'll be able to see the number of page reads that each ad is generating for you. And that's how we really decide which is a good ad and which is a bad ad. It's with that Amazon attribution data. Now, Amazon attribution links only work when you're sending people from your Facebook ads to your books on Amazon. If you're sending people to your books on Kobo or Barnes & Noble or wherever, you can't use Amazon attribution links. And those other retailers outside of Amazon, at the moment, they have no way of tracking. So you don't know which ads are converting and which ones aren't. So it's very, very hard to judge what is a good ad, what is a bad ad, when you don't have that tracking data. So that's just something to keep in mind there. So you just need to enter your Amazon attribution link would go in this box here, the website URL. And the other thing, just make sure, yes. So Facebook have recently introduced these info labels, and I always turn them off. So they put them on by default. So just need to come to info labels here and click on edit info labels, and then just come to the from your profile and just turn all of these off. I mean, you can choose to have them on if you want to, but I just don't like them. So I turn all of these off. Okay. And then we click done. Okay. So that is our first ad created now, but I like to have 3 ads per ad set. 3 ads per ad package. So what I do is I come to the action menu here, the 3 dots on the ad level, click on that and do quickly duplicate. Okay, so that's going to create a carbon copy of the ad. Then we need to come up to the top and we need to change this to ad number 2. Okay, and then we'll scroll down and yeah, we've turned on multi-advertiser ads here, so we'll turn that off. Okay, so now we need to put in a new piece of primary text. So we're going to grab one from our Google Doc here, do that, and we'll paste that into here. Okay, and then we're going to put a new headline in as well. So grab our headline. This is a reader review quote, and we're going to pop that into there. Okay, and shop now, so that's fine. So the only other thing to do here would be to add in the Amazon attribution link, which will be it'll be a different one to the one you've used in the first ad. Just make sure every ad has a unique Amazon attribution link. Don't use the same link in more than one ad. Otherwise the tracking just won't make sense. It won't be accurate. So that's our second ad. Now we need to do a third one. So click on the action menu and click on quickly duplicate again. Okay, so we'll come up to the top here. This is going to be ad number 3. And we'll get rid of the copy on the end. The other thing I didn't do actually at the second ad here was change the image. Quite an important step I missed there. So come back to media. We'll remove this image here by clicking the bin. Click on add media, add image, and we'll come to media down the left-hand side. And we need to find ad number 2, which is this one here. Sorry, image number 2. Click on next and skip. Okay, and turn all of these on, and then all of them off, and then we're going to click done. Okay, so that's the second ad done now. Now we need the third one. So we'll first remove this image, click in the remove media button there. Then we'll do add media, add image, and we'll come to media again, and we need to find image number 3, which is this one. And next, and skip. And then we need to turn everything on and then everything off, and then click done. Okay. So the other thing we need to do is on the third ad is just add in our new piece of primary text and a new headline. So third piece of primary text is this one here. So we'll select all that and copy it, paste that into there. Okay, and then we need to come to the headline. We need to find this one here, the Ancestor Saga, a complete fantasy series, and we'll pop that into here. Okay, so that is our headline done now. And I like to run at least 2 ad sets, so 2 ad packages per at the same time in a campaign, because we're setting the budget at a campaign level. We want to have the 2 ad sets sort of competing against each other, really. So then if the one that wins the most budget, that earns the most budget, is going to be our winning ad set. So if you just have the 1 ad set running, then all the budget's naturally by default going to go to that particular ad set because there's nowhere else that Facebook can spend it. Whereas if you have 2, then Facebook can, they can fight it out amongst each other really for the budget. And that way you have a much clearer winner on your hands there. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to come to the ad set level here, ad package 1, and we're going to click on the action menu and we're going to click on quickly duplicate. And that's going to create a carbon copy of the entire ad set, including the ads within it. So all the ads will be the same, and all the settings here, the targeting and the placements and the budget and schedule, everything's going to be identical to that first ad set. So first I need to come to the top here and just change this to ad package 2, and we'll get rid of copy on the end. And then what we do is we need to come to the individual ads. So this one here is going to become ad number 4, because we've got 1, 2, 3 in ad set 1, ad package 1, and then we're going to have 4, 5, and 6 in ad package 2. So in here, I'm going to leave the primary text the same and the headline the same in all of them. I'm just going to change out the image in each one. So first, turn off multi-advertiser ads. That's been turned on again for some reason. And we need to delete the image here and do add media and then add image. And then we need to come to media down the left-hand side and we need to upload. And then just going to grab 3 new images here. Okay, so add 1. Okay, so here we go. So we'll select that one and then we do next. We'll do skip, and we'll turn everything off and on and then everything off and then done. Okay, so that is ad number 4 done. Then we need to come to this one here which is going to be ad number 5. And we're leaving the, as I say, the primary text, the headline exactly the same. And that way, when we do start running this campaign and we see one ad set and one or two ads within those ad sets getting more budget, we know it's because of the image, because that's the only variable, the only difference between the ads in both ad sets. So we want to remove variables as often as possible so we can really test and decide and see with the data what's working, what isn't working. So we need to delete this image here, and we need to add media, add image, come down to media here, and we need to add 2, and next, and skip, and everything on and then everything off, and then done. Okay, so that's that ad done. And then the last one is this one here, ad number 3, which will become ad number 6. And then we need to come down to here, remove that image, add media, add image, and then media and ad number 3 we need. Next, skip, and all on and then all off, and done. So those are all the ads done now. And just remember that you will need to have unique Amazon attribution links for every ad. Even these ones here, 4, 5, and 6, they'll need new Amazon attribution links as well, so you can track the performance of all of them. And then before you publish everything, I recommend you just go back and just double check all the spelling, all the grammar, just to make sure there's no errors in any of that. And then also come to the ad set level and just make sure everything is correct here with your targeting and your placements. And then when you're ready, you can come to the campaign level at the top here and then just click publish there. Or what you can do, you come out of here, and in the top right corner, you'll see a review and publish button, and you can click on that, and then you can see all the campaigns, the ad sets, and the ads there. It says fix error because there's no link in the ad. That's why it's saying there's no, there's an error there. And once you're happy, you can just click publish there. So multiple ways to do the same thing there. And then once you've done that, your ads will go into review, and they'll be reviewed by Facebook's algorithm just to make sure it passes all their policies and guidelines, etc. And then they'll start delivering. And the process, the time it takes for Facebook to analyze your ads, it can take anywhere from sort of 1 to 24 hours. And in the beginning, it's going to be closer to 24-hour mark if you're a new advertiser, because Facebook's just been a bit more cautious. Whereas now, because we've run so many ads over the years, our ads are approved within 30 to 60 minutes generally and start running. So the more ads you run, the quicker that review time will be. And that is my process and strategy for running Facebook ads. So hope that helps, and thank you so much for watching.
Great presentation, super clear. Very few stones unturned, especially like someone who knows nothing about it can just be like, all right, this is how it works,
I have this question. You mentioned quickly duplicate, but what's the difference in case you press duplicate? What's the difference between the two?
Sure. So if we were to come into here and we've got quickly duplicate, that would, when we do quick duplicate, that puts the ad set or the ad you've got selected into that same, if we duplicated the ad set, it will go into the same campaign. If you duplicated the ad, a quick duplicate, it will go into the same ad set. If you click duplicate though, what you can do is you can move it to the original campaign, which is essentially a quick duplicate, or you can do an existing campaign. So you want to create a carbon copy of this ad set or this ad in another campaign, or another ad set, or you can duplicate it into a brand new campaign. So you could put these ad sets into another campaign. And then you can also have multiple copies of that same ad set or that ad as well. So that's the main difference really, is quick duplicate just puts it into the original campaign that you're duplicating it from. Does that help, Daniel?
Yes, thank you.
Yeah, cool. You're welcome.
And so, Matt, one thing that a lot of authors do that you probably know is like they start with a low budget.
Mm-hmm.
So if you're testing on a low budget, I know you were saying it takes longer to get that data to know. So what's kind of a benchmark? Is there a certain amount or a certain amount of time or money where like if they want to test on a low budget, what does that kind of look like?
So what I say is, if you're spending less than $10 a day, then let the ads run for 2 weeks, so 14 days. If you're spending sort of, $10, $15, $20 plus a day, let them run for 7 days and then make your decisions. So I wouldn't make any decisions earlier than that really, because the first sort of 1 to 3 days is where Facebook's really learning about who to show your ads to, what's the best time of day to show your ads. If you're targeting the US, what states within the US are the best states for your particular ads and for your particular books? So Facebook's doing all that learning. I mean, it's doing it all the time. Even if your ad runs for 6 months, it's always learning that. But the first 1 to 3 days are the most important. And that's the first 1 to 3 days will also be the most unstable as well. And sometimes, even it might take 5 to 7 days, even if you're spending $50 a day, it might take 5 to 7 days before you really get some stability in your ads. So at a minimum, don't touch your ads for 7 days. If you're spending more than $10, it's an arbitrary number, but somewhere around that figure. And then if you're spending less than $10 a day, let them run for at least sort of 10 to 14 days, really, because you just need that extra bit of data to, you need a good amount of data to make a decision on, is this a good ad or not a good ad? So that's how I define it, is by time. There's some advertisers like to do a certain number of impressions or a certain number of clicks or a certain amount of a spend. I just prefer time, because if you let it run for an entire week, you sort of see people's different behavior patterns. So at the weekend, they might be using their phone or their computer more than they would on a Wednesday evening, for example. So I like to get it at least a week, so we get those different patterns of reader behavior that people can see the ads in.
I have this question. When you were explaining about the ad sets, etc., when you mentioned about organizing in different groups, for example, you create 3 different ad sets for the same book with 3 different prepared ads, okay? So I assume that you can like set it. This one will be for, I don't know, adults that like fighting stories or war stories. If the book is about many different things, for example, it's a romance in a war with magic. And then you create 3 groups with one for each specifically, I assume.
Yeah, I mean, if they're different books, I would have a completely different campaign for that. So if you had one about war and fighting and that sort of thing, and magic, for example, that would be one campaign for that one book. If you had another book about romance, that would be a completely separate campaign with separate ad sets and ads within it.
Oh, I thought that maybe the ad set was for one book, but prepared for different approaches.
Oh, okay, I see what you mean. Right. So it's the same book then, but you want to go sort of different angles for pitching that book. Okay, so you want to go after, so one ad set then would be, the ads within that one would be all about the romance element of the story, and then another ad set could be really targeting the war and the magic and the battles side of the same story. Yeah, that'd be another way to do it. Yeah, because the words you use within each ad are going to be very different for those 2 ad sets. So they're going to attract different readers. The images will be very different as well. So yeah, you would have separate ad sets for each of those. Yeah, definitely.
Now, one example you brought up with the CTR, like if you set it to 65 plus, maybe you're getting a bunch of clicks, but they turn out to not convert. What are some other causes that could lead to, oh, I'm getting a great click through, but they're not buying?
It generally lies in either the ads sort of not selling you're not really selling the book to the right audience. So Facebook's picking up it's getting the wrong end of the stick really with the messaging you're using in your ads, and it's showing your ads to the wrong people. The other side of it is Facebook's showing the ads to the right people, but there's something wrong or there's something not gelling on the product page itself. So the ads are fine, but for whatever reason, there's something on the product page on Amazon or wherever you're sending them that's just not getting them over the fence. So it could be the review counts, not very good, or there's been some recent 1 or 2 star reviews, and they've become top reviews on Amazon, so they're right at the top of the review list. And we've had that in the past where you get the odd 1 star, and it just tanks the sales for a few days until more reviews come in and sort of push that one down. So it could be something like that. It could be the blurb. You may need to test some different blurs, because okay, the ads are enticing people over, the right people over, but your blurb just isn't selling it like the ad's selling it. So it could be something on the blurb itself that's not really working. The other thing could be that the book cover, it just looks dated, it looks old, it's not on genre. So people think, well, this doesn't seem like the sort of ad that I've just read. Or it could be on Amazon, you can do like a read sample or a look inside. So people can read the first 10% of your book, And if that first 10% is chock full of, spelling errors and grammatical things, that's not setting good precedence for the rest of the book. Because if the first chapter's terrible, the writing's bad, the spelling's, all over the place, people are reading it thinking, well, God, I just can't get into this. There's too many mistakes. So that could be putting them off as well. So a lot of the time it is generally the book product page, but it could just be the messaging on the ad is Facebook's getting a bit confused and it's not selling, putting the ads in front of the right people.
So expanding a bit about what Marcus said, for example, on my case, I did check some ads sometime. They can be very good and interesting, but as I'm from a place with limited payment options, sometimes I just can't pay for that. So basically, here our guest is saying to us is that we are just picking probably the wrong country, the wrong place to put the ad.
Yeah, it could be that as well. That a particular marketplace, particular country just may not gel with your book. There may not be many readers in that country for your particular book. If you're very, very niche in your book, or it's quite a unique angle of the book or whatever, there's definitely it's called a TAM, a total addressable market. And it could just be very small for your book, depending on if you write something very obscure, shall we say. And there's just not a big audience for those people. And, some books will do very, very well in the UK and do terrible in the US, or vice versa. Or the other thing is, in Canada, there's not a huge amount of people that actually buy books on Amazon. They prefer a Kobo as their retailer of choice for books. So there's only so far you can really scale ads, Facebook ads, for people in Canada if you're selling people from your Facebook ads to your book on Amazon, because there's just not many people there that use it compared to the amount of people that use Amazon in the US or in the UK. So that can have an impact as well.
I have a question. Do Meta track to the time of viewing? Like, for example, as I mentioned before, if I read the ad and got my screen free on there so I can read it deeply, do Meta track that too for our people?
Yeah, we can't see that data in terms of how long people's looking at our ad for. If you're running videos, you can see watch time and things like that. But really, yeah, what Meta's looking at is how are people, even if they're stopping for half a second to look at your ad, that's a good signal to Meta that people are potentially interested in this. If they see that people are just not even stopping for a quarter of a second to look at your ad because it's just not enticing anybody, it's not engaging anyone, then that's a red flag, and that's when they're going to be ramping your costs up.
It does track what I was asking.
Yeah, it's looking at all of that, any sort of engagement. So it could be just, as I say, just pausing over the ad for half a second or so. It could be clicking on the see more button on the primary text. It could be clicking, like or share or comment, or even just clicking on the ad. If they click on the little profile picture to go over to your Facebook page as well, again, that's another engagement that Facebook's looking at. So you're looking at all these engagement signals. Yeah.
Matt, with the Facebook page, there's a lot of indie authors. I mean, there's 1,000 things to do.
Yeah.
How active should this Facebook page be? Obviously, the more active, the better, but is there sort of a minimum threshold of activity they should have on this page just in case somebody does click on their author page?
What I will say is that my wife, Laurie, she hasn't posted on there since July of 2022. Our Facebook ads are doing just fine. So you don't need to post on there. But what I would say is it's good to have at least, half a dozen posts or so on there. Even if you just write them once, you just write them when you first create your page and schedule them out over the next couple of weeks, just so there's some sort of activity on there. And that's also good for Facebook, so that it doesn't see it as a robot, a bot created page, that there's a real person behind it. So yeah, we haven't posted on there for a few years now, but it definitely needs something on there. But you don't feel you have to be religiously posting on there every week or every month or so. I mean, if you want to, great, that's absolutely fine. But as you say, your author's got a lot to do as it is. So it's not essential that you do post on there regularly. You can if you want to. It's an option, but just get something on there so Facebook doesn't, because what can happen is you create a Facebook page and within a few hours, Facebook can shut it down sometimes if there's been no activity on it, because it just sees it as a bot created page, even though it's not. it can sometimes see that and just flag it, and their system just shuts it down straight away without asking any questions. So yeah, that's my advice there. Get something on it, but don't feel you have to religiously post on it every month or week or whatever.
Got it. And kind of two more that I got is setting expectations. So brand new author, they're following this video, they're creating their first ad account, they're super excited. Oh, I see this can all work. What should they expect when they hit publish? What happens next?
So what I will say is the first 1 to 3 days are going to be a bit shaky, and you may be inclined to turn things off. You're thinking, I'm not really seeing much of a increase here in royalties and in sales, etc. Give it time. Give it time. You got to give it at least 7 to 14 days minimum before you start making any decisions on to turn anything off. Also know that most of the ads you test will not work. That's perfectly normal. I'd say anywhere between 10 to 20% of the ads I test actually work. And I've been doing this for, getting on for 5 years now. So most of your ads will fail, and that's perfectly fine. It's perfectly normal. You've just got to go through that painful bit and to find the ads that do work. You may be lucky and get, the first ads you test that you find a unicorn ad in there that just takes off, and that's great. But that's probably not going to happen until you've launched, I don't know, 20, 30 ads till you find one of those. But, some authors that I teach, that I've worked with, within a month, they're doubling their royalties. So it can happen very, very quickly. But, obviously advertising is not guaranteed. There's nothing guaranteed in advertising at all. So just give it time. You've got to go through the process. You've got to really understand your data and figure out what's working for you and for your books. And yes, look at other advertisers and see how they're running their ads by using the Facebook ads library we covered, and see different ways to pitch your book, different ways to create the images, to write the headlines and the primary text. It's all about a game of testing and iteration. So in terms of expectations, the first few weeks that you're running ads are going to be difficult. I'm not going to lie, because you're going to want to turn things off, I think. If you're anything like me, when I was getting started, it can be quite painful, but you just got to get through those first few weeks, and things will start changing. They will start transforming as long as you stick to it, as long as you stick to the strategy of just testing regularly, testing new ads each week or even every other week, and looking at the data, and then turning off the ads that aren't working, and then ramping the budget up as and when you can. And don't feel you have to increase the budget every week. If you haven't got the cash flow to do it, just stick at $10 a day or whatever it is. Don't put yourself in an uncomfortable position where you can't afford to put food on the table. That's not a good position to be in. Nobody wants to do that. You're not going to be in a good frame of mind to write, to create ads, to run a business, whatever. You've got to look after yourself first. But I'd also say that if you can, do some number crunching and say, right, I can definitely put aside $1,000 for the next 3 months that's all dedicated to figuring out this Facebook ads thing. So set a budget in mind and just stick to that and say, right, I've got 3 months to figure this out. I've got $1,000 to do it. Let's go. And no matter what happens, in 3 months' time, you will be a lot better than you are today. You will understand a lot more about your readers, and you'll know how to run ads. You'll have a lot of data. So $1,000 can get you a long way. But I'd say you at least need to spend that before you really start really understanding it. You can't sort of say, all right, I've spent $100 on ads, they haven't worked, right, I'm on to the next thing. You've really got to give it at least 90 days. Stick to this for 90 days is what my advice would be before you start, going down some other shiny object route.
Awesome. And then how does an author learn more about your courses, and how do they find you if they want to learn more? Just saw it, they want to go deeper. How do they find you, and what can they expect when they are looking at what you offer?
Sure, thank you. So the best place to go is, if I just bring it up here, is this one here, which is my website, which is matthewjholmes.com. And I have a weekly newsletter I send out. And in there, I just share tips and strategies on advertising, because I'm testing things all the time with Facebook ads and also Amazon ads as well. And then I also share insights about running, because I'm still running Laurie's author business today. We're still selling books. She's still writing. So I'm just sharing insights about what's changing in the author world, the publishing world, the advertising, marketing world. So everything is, I share everything in there as well. And then you can read more about my story and Laurie's story as well on the website. And then I've got a whole archive of all the newsletters I've written over the years as well on there. And then and then I'll let you know about courses through the newsletter as well. So that's where everything is. It's on matthewjholmes.com there.
Awesome. Thanks, Matt. I think this was a great presentation. I'm glad we could do it, and I think it was worth the wait.
Yeah, it was absolutely. Yeah, thank you. Thank you for putting up with me. Thank you ever so much, guys. Really appreciate your time. Thank you.
You likewise.